I think another question that comes to me just off the back of that is people generally, I would say, are aware of and I think are striving towards developing themselves so that they can support their family, so that hopefully they can get involved in communities. And it happens, let's say, if we're just looking at the UK, generally people are striving towards that. But the next step, or whatever that jump is after that, that once you've got something of a community, what are we looking for next? As an individual community, but also as a, the UK as a whole, where are we going? Where should we be going? What are the potential options for us? I think most people on the ground, at least, I would assume, are unsure about that next step.
Yeah, this is a very, very good question. If we look at what our books of fiqh tell us, so the Hanafi scholars and the Shafi'i scholars, certainly, they allow Muslims to settle in non-Muslim territories. In the olden days, it was quite a big deal. People didn't have necessarily all the protections we might recognize now. And in the Shafi'i scholars, like Imam al-Mawardi, he said if a Muslim is able to practice his faith in a non-Muslim territory, that person should stay there now. He said, don't come back now, because you've extended something of the dar of Islam to where you are. You are now establishing faith there. And he literally says this is the 5th Islamic century. He says, hopefully others will convert. You are a cause for good if you can do it and be safe. Our Hanafi scholars, they said that if Muslims are in a minority setting, what they should do is essentially organize. So the Sharia, the way the fiqh is typically designed, is a sort of top-down political vision. So Friday prayers are assumed to be authorized by head of state. And that happens actually in the Muslim world. Like I was in Jordan, you can't be an imam of the Friday prayer without being authorized by the Ministry of Religious Affairs, which is part of the government. So I can't just rock up and say, I have a great khutbah, can I give a speech, please? And so that's how the classical fiqh envisions it. So then what happens when you don't have all of that? Then our classical fuqaha, they say, well, the head of state, the Muslim head of state, as they pictured it, envisioned it, his power comes from the people. People appoint, follow. So in the absence of that figure, the people are still there in this territory. They should just organize and appoint. And so in a short, what is the righteous struggle for a believing community as a minority is just organize and establish the teachings of the sacred law as much as possible. Just you go up layer by layer, layer by layer, layer by layer. So you have mosques. This is the first thing. People like to criticize the earlier community, but the truth is they came and they established mosques, and our conversation today is only possible because they built mosques in the 60s and 70s. Otherwise, we would never come together to think of anything more. Our ability to think is because they laid foundations of prayer. This is the truth of it. And so we're constantly building. And some communities more than others. But it's always just how do we organize and establish the teachings of the sacred law as much as possible. So we got the mosques. I'm trying to organize zakat. The work we're doing in National Zakat Foundation, I'm trying to serve the embedding of it within real communities. So it really becomes where people to know each other. And so zakat is not the one-time support, but it's the foundation of a lifelong relationship in communities. We then are advised in books of fiqh, if you're organized, so let's say we're organized like that in communities like in High Wycombe and London and all that, can we come together in a more national way? Can we do that in a larger way? So first of all, can you organize in increasingly wider circles? That's the width, if you like. In terms of the height or the depth, then our scholars talk about qadis. They say, well, you can't really live the sacred law without dispute resolution, according to the teachings of the sacred law. And that's the office of the qadi. So, and again, although in the classical conception it's the head of state that appoints a Muslim judge, they say in the absence of that figure, then the people have to appoint. Because if we can organize something like that, then you can really think about the rights of men and women in marriage, which you can't really without a qadi figure. You can ensure fair trade according to the teachings of faith. And so that's a layer of organization. And then if we can do it in High Wycombe and London and the other cities, then can we now do it on a national way? That's it. Breadth and width. At the end of the day, what is the highest objective in all of this? We can say two things. One is the continuation of faith, because Iman is from Aman. Iman, the word faith, means to enter into safety. We want people to feel the safety of faith, and that safety is in community. People who grew up in England, and they still do today, when there's only one or two Muslims, and it's an environment of not a lot of Muslims. Some of them, they get bullied, they hide their name, and they go through various pressures. That's not the safest way to experience Iman. The safest way is in the comfort of community. So this idea of organizing is to allow people inside just to have the comfort. It's as if it's the big difference between what you might call a broken home and a home with extended family. Where would you rather have a kid if you had a choice? It would be a home with extended family. We're trying to build family in High Wycombe, extended family with London and the other territories, and so on. The other thing is the outside. Nothing in the teachings of the sacred law are designed to be exclusivist, like anti-one group, pro-one group. We consider ourselves representatives of the prophetic teaching. We believe if we organize and we coordinate and we really uphold the sacred law, there really is zakat, and there really is food, and there really is education, and there really is service tied around mosques and schools and centers, the country will be a better place. We, National Zakat Foundation, last year we distributed direct hard cash grants of like £4 million or £4 million in London, even £3 to £4 million in London. So a city like that, we did 7 million total. But a city like that, if you just take out £3-4 million, that's a considerable strain on public services and doctors and so on. So a strong Muslim community is a strength for all of society. We're committed to that. We're going to bring an A game to wider society on morality, on economics. The riba-based economic model is not taking humanity in a good, fair direction. We have to put our minds together for community pots of money, community solutions for house buying, community solutions for public trusts. We consider our job to lead on these ethical, moral, economic, justice-based conversations. And we'll offer more if we're organized. We'll offer more if we're rotating around informed, learned, passionate, committed centers in our communities. And so therefore the vision is for everyone, it's for all of humanity. What our fiqh books then say, if you've got the qadi, it might sound cheeky, but what they say is, all right, then ask the non-Muslim ruler. This is an old fiqh, it's not necessarily democracy, maybe they're thinking of kings or something. But then ask him to give you a Muslim like a governor or like an MP, but who just governs you. So what is it? Just more layers of organization in breadth, in depth, keeping it safe and flourishing on the inside, and keeping it a positive contribution on the outside. Allahu A'lam.